Good morning, Fox Pack. Welcome back to the Fox Den. Welcome to another acid tree. Today we got something a little different. So lately my 10R80 in the Mustang has been shifting very sloppy. I guess basically since I've had it, but lately I've just really started to notice it. Basically what happens is the biggest problem I have with it are two things. And this happens all the time in these 10R80s from what I've read. When you go to downshift, it's at operating temperature. A lot of times it won't even rev match. It'll just go to neutral and doesn't actually rev match, and you're just coasting. That's probably the most annoying thing. The other thing is when you're driving around, sounds like a slush box and feels like a slush box, and it makes the car sound pretty odd, being how loud it is, but the way it shifts. And then in particular, at one point I was having a issue when it shifted from 3 to 4, it would actually flare. And that was very concerning because almost like it's a trans issue. But upon reflashing my tune, which resets those tables, the learning tables on this transmission, the issue went away. But of course the sloppy shifting slowly came back, but the 3 to 4 flare did not come back. So I guess it was just the way the adaptive learning just decided to make it shift. I don't know, but today we're going to be disabling it. Now, as you all know, or many of you know, if you've been subscribed to the channel, this car is supercharged. It is tuned. So what you're going to need for this, FORSCAN. I do have the free version. You're going to need the OBD reader. Link will be in the description. OBD Link is the brand, you can see. It's actually made for FORSCAN. Now, if your Mustang is stock, this will be a lot easier to do. You'll just open up your FORSCAN, turn on your ignition, don't start the engine. You'll connect it to the vehicle by hitting this here, and then it's going to, yeah, it might give you this error, just click yes. Now, if your Mustang is stock, it should automatically identify your ECU, but if you're tuned like this, there's a 99% chance it's going to give you an error, and it says unable to identify vehicle. So we have to find the ECM part number. Sometimes it'll be on the side of the ECU itself. I did find the number on the side of my ECU in there, under the hood, and that number did not work. So what you have to do, you could do two things. You could flash the stock, or you can go to the Ford As Built website. Again, link will be in the description. Enter in your vehicle's information, and it should give you an as built file, which is this right here. It'll be a bunch of numbers, and it'll be a .ab file, which is as built. Sometimes that website can be a little finicky. It might not always work. When I first tried to do it, it would give me an error. I tried it the next day, and then I was able to download the file. You're going to open it in Notepad. You're going to search. It can be a little bit difficult to find this. So you're going to search for your ECM software part number. You're going to go to find. Now in this search tab, you're going to type this exact text right here. You're going to type in the greater than symbol, node ID, and less than symbol, or whatever those are called. You know what I mean. You can see them. 7E0. Now you see how it says F11. These are your different components. The one we are looking for, F188. That's the ECM part number, or identify. It's the identifier, not the part number. Now you're going to see this a couple times, but you want to find one that looks like this. You have your 4 characters here, several characters in the middle, and then it might end with some letters. It could vary. This, like I said, this could be a little tricky to find. You can try different numbers because there's a couple different lines that'll say F188, but this is kind of what you're looking for. This ended up being my part number for my ECM. So you're going to take that number, you're going to go in FORSCAN, and Control V will put it in, and it will identify the vehicle, and you can see it did. And we can connect to the vehicle. It might actually be already connected. Yes, it is. So now that once you're connected to the vehicle, it's going to read a bunch of different things. Just let it do its thing for a couple minutes. It's going to ask you if you want to save it. You could just click yes. Then once it says ready on the bottom, you're going to click on this wrench, and this is what we are looking for. So you could do a couple things. You could clear the tables, which is what most people do. You could just clear it. I did that. So you can click on that and then press this little play button down there, and I already did it, so I'm not going to show it. but you're gonna press the little play button. It might ask you to hit yes or something, and then it's gonna start doing its thing. It'll ask you to turn the ignition off and on and all that stuff a couple times. It takes about 30-45 seconds. And then same thing with halt transmission adaptive learning. Now if you want to turn it off entirely like I'm doing, you'll click on that, same thing, and then that will disable your adaptive learning. Again, there's mixed feedback on if you should actually disable this. Most people do it, no issues. It could potentially shorten the lifespan of the transmission, but it hasn't been confirmed. But if you blow up your stuff, I'm not responsible. So do this at your own risk. The safest way is just to clear this every once in a while, but in my case, this thing just learns so fast, it just doesn't last very long before it starts getting really slushy again. And it's not a transmission issue, it's just the programming. I confirmed it wasn't a transmission issue. And then once you do all that, it will be disabled. And now we will drive the car and see how it feels. And of course, before you unplug this from the car, make sure you disconnect it from the vehicle by hitting that button there. You don't want to just unplug it. And also, before you mess with any of this, make sure you back up your as-built file. It's basically telling your ECU what to do. It's all the programming, but you also have your as-built file from the Ford website, so you could actually load that onto there. But just to be safe, you should back this up. There's a lot of different ways to do it, so if you want to do that, check out a different video. I'm not going to show how to do it because there's just so many different ways, to my knowledge anyway. There's a bunch of different ways. That's what I found. Alright, initial impressions. I did a couple slow drive offs. I didn't get it on camera because I forgot to turn the camera on. It shifts like how a transmission should shift. Now if you disable this, obviously it's going to shift firmer. I was reading it could potentially shorten the lifespan of the transmission. I don't know how true that is. I'm planning on putting a built trans in anyway. But again, you do this at your own risk. I may end up turning it back on after I drive it a while and just reset the tables here and there when I feel it's getting sloppy. So I'll put it in sport and we'll do normal driving, because like I said, normal driving is where I was having issues. Firmer shifts for sure. It's much more normal. It shifts how it should shift. Now if you're not a fan of the really firm shifting, I don't recommend doing this because it's going to shift a lot more firmly. All right, now that we're not running on fumes, try this out some more. That 3 to 4 shift is perfect now. Now we're back in sport. It's definitely a much firmer shift. Little paddle shifter run here. Yeah, that's much better in paddle shift mode. It's very hot today, so the car's probably not pulling as hard as it could. Let's see how these downshifts are. Ooh! Downshifts are on point now. And that was a major issue before. The pops. had a major issue with the downshifts before where it just would drop into neutral. This is a common issue. Now it's just... It screams, dude. Well, there you have it, folks. That's how you disable your adaptive learning in your 10R80 Mustang, and how you get it to work with a tune. I highly recommend it. Of course, if you decide to do this, I'm not responsible if you grenade your transmission. There's kind of some people that say you shouldn't do it. There's people say absolutely do it. I don't know if it actually wears out the transmission faster, but I will say this: the downshifts are so much better. Like I said before, once it was up to operating temperature, you go to downshift, the car will just drop to neutral and it will not rev match, and it was super annoying. Now it's downshifting every time, and no more flaring, nice firm shifts how it should be, and this is great. Up next, we're gonna change the fluid. That's just more preventative maintenance. We're just gonna do it anyway because these tend to come underfilled from factory. But yeah, it's shifting really good now. That FORSCAN, man, it works wonders. So hopefully this was helpful, and I will update you guys if I keep it off or if I turn it back on and just reset the tables every now and then. But if it keeps going good, I'll definitely leave it off. Don't forget to subscribe, join the Fox Pack today, hit the bell notifications to be notified when we do something stupid. Follow us on Instagram at GrabberFox Offroad, and our TikTok also at GrabberFox Offroad, and you can follow the official Mustang page at GrabberFox50. Remember, life's too short to stay stock, and it's only legal if you get caught. Stay foxy.